Yeah, I feel like parts of my soul were given back to me that I didn't know were missing at Bonnaroo. I uh
That's good.
I I've been telling people I am like, people that say Disney World is the happiest place on earth haven't been to Bonnaroo.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the What Podcast. I'm Barry, that's Bryan, that's Lord Taco. Try to imagine, if you can, you've ordered your festival tickets. You've never been before. You've never been to a festival, much less Bonnaroo. And you get the phone call, somebody stole your wristband. I can't even imagine. It makes my shoulders tense up just thinking about it. The reason I mention that, our guest today, and we're going to talk to her later on, Abbey from Missouri. She's the winner of the junk from my basement contest that we started back before Bonnaroo
Well,
started.
Barry, you're the real winner because you get junk out of your basement.
That's right. There's less stuff in
Less
my
stuff.
basement.
Yeah.
But she's actually didn't mean it to be this way, but uh, I was going to give some junk away, and but when we heard her voice message, which was the way the contest sort of happened, we asked people to leave their voice message about their favorite memory or memorabilia. Got a message from her about her wristband being stolen, and she was asking for advice on how to proceed and still have a good time.
How to proceed, and then was skeptical
How to,
about how much more issues am I going to run into at this
Right.
festival, and so
How,
which is
how do I
completely
stay safe? Yeah.
right.
exactly.
So we hear from her. She had a blast, as you will hear. In fact, she's probably probably as big a fan of Bonnaroo now as we all are.
Another convert, keeping them in,
Yep.
keep them
Another
come on
convert.
in, keep it's good. Welcome for anybody over here.
Yeah, she's got a great attitude, and we'll hear from her. But before that, there's a little bit of music news out there, right? EDM festival going on or went on this past weekend, and
Yeah, we want to start with that real quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the this Elements Festival going on in Pennsylvania. It is at the Pocono racetrack. NASCAR. It's a NASCAR racetrack, and I'm not familiar with it at all. And I don't know how the festival ended exactly because that's when we were, that's deadline day. But I followed it through about Saturday afternoon, and so was it a hurricane when it hit the east, or was it just a tropical?
I think it was
Tropical
tropical. It
storm.
came
Yeah.
back, but it's tropical storm. There's a lot of water.
A lot of bad weather. A lot of bad weather.
Yeah.
And this has got a little bit of a feel of Bonnaroo 21, slightly. They're closer to the coast than we were. I don't know, actually, if you got out a map. I'm not sure. But they got a ton of rain coming in. And this is an all EDM festival. And it is and I know nothing, as anybody who's regularly here knows, when it comes to EDM, but I recognize some names on there.
Yeah,
Chris Lake, Of the Trees is one that I'm familiar with. Illenium, who is not really, he's a crossover act. Illenium's been at Bonnaroo before. And so it's a nice little lineup. And they look at about 15 to 20,000 cap on this festival, on this racetrack, which seems like a weird place to me, but that's what it is. And so Thursday hits, and that's when they're letting you can purchase early for the Thursday early entry. And rain is coming in and the storm is hitting, and by the time people are settling in into Thursday, into late night, and into Friday, when the second wave of early starts to roll in, there's portions of Pocono that's underwater, and they shut the place down.
Right.
At middle of the night, Thursday night into into Friday morning, and people were furious on everything I could find. I found nothing that said anything even kind of positive about this, which is understandable. And these are people who are now stuck in their cars or wherever. and just sitting on their phone saying F you Elements. And apparently they had a lot of issues back in 2021. Don't know what those are, but this is now kind of a recurring theme that I'd be surprised if we see another Elements festival. But everybody who came early, ready to get there on Friday, they shut down the entire festival until Saturday at noon. I wrote it down. This is from Elements' official Twitter account. So this isn't me digging through, finding it on Reddit. This is from Elements itself. That on Saturday, after they had for almost 24 hours closed campgrounds, closed the venue. So if you've traveled for however long, you're either just going to find a rest stop or a gas station or a McDonald's, or I don't know. Imagine all these people. What are they doing? Where are they going? And it's pouring rain on them the whole time.
Yeah.
They didn't open the box until Saturday at 12, the box office. I couldn't quite figure this out, but there was a lot of people who had to go to the box office to get their wristbands, and a lot of that had to do with they did daily entry. So they said anybody with a Friday entry, since they canceled all of Friday, could come and get a Saturday and or Sunday band. Well, the lines, the pictures to do this starting at noon on Saturday, when this thing was supposed to start at almost 2 days before, was as long as the eye could see. Campground opened at 1 on Saturday. Venue opened at 3 on Saturday. We're halfway through the weekend here, and 2/3 of the entire place is not even in there. I don't have to go any further for you to know how big of a nightmare that must have been for everybody.
For everybody. That's what I was getting ready to say. Both sides. I mean, the guy sitting in the car at McDonald's trying, he thinks he's missing the show. I get it, man. You got to be mad. You got to be angry. But you're no more mad or frustrated than that person who's trying to run it thinking, what are we going to do? As we've seen with the Bonnaroo 21, as you said, Moon River, when they had to send everybody home Saturday and then Sunday. And then, rain is, we can take the heat, right? We can complain about it, but you can deal with it.
Can't deal with flooding.
Can't deal with flooding.
No.
And so I don't know. Maybe they should have canceled this all the way around. I haven't been able to get enough of an eyewitness account to know the Pocono track is huge. Some of the places might have been fine. Some of the campsites will find some of this stuff. They're floating on air mattresses and like having a big time, because that's all they know to do. The few people that were allowed in, I don't know if they made them leave or not.
But you remember talking to the folks from AC and C3 about the Bonnaroo when the hurricane went through here and flooded it out, and they canceled it, and people were almost here, 6 hours, 3 hours away.
So it's such a nightmare.
They couldn't get the vehicles that were on site, couldn't move, couldn't get out. They were up to their axles in mud, and people don't realize it's like, oh, it's just a little water, I can walk through it. When you get 80,000 or 40,000 people walking through a puddle, it suddenly becomes an ankles or knees deep mud hole, the size of a lake.
Yeah.
So,
just like that 21 festival, and just like the Moon River deal we had on a Sunday here in September a couple of years back here locally, when a big storm comes through, what happens when the storm's gone? It cools down, and it's bright sunshine.
Yeah.
And the rest of the weekend at Elements, and just like that Bonnaroo 21, it's so people are looking at it like, this is a dream. Throw down some plywood, guys. And like that I think even the most reasonable person can get wrapped up in that. But they had the same thing at Pocono this weekend. It was beautiful, 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Perfect weather, and they continued. They went on through the weekend. People were mad. They paid for the extra. I looked at the ticket prices, guys. We talk about Bonnaroo, and are these getting too high? Holy wow, these things are that much, if not more.
Yeah.
And
I get it,
so
man.
we'll see where the shakeout is as the week goes along here, and it's a smaller amount of people. It's a niche thing. It's only one. It's all EDM. It's all it is. And it just, man, I looked at it and I was watching it in real time from Friday night into Saturday, and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for everybody involved.
Exactly. I get
Yeah.
it. We've been there. It's the worst.
That just underscores, it was tough for Bonnaroo in 2021 to cancel, especially right at the last minute, but that was the right decision.
Oh
I
my
mean, looking
gosh.
back, it would have been this or worse, so this is really the worst case.
In no way it's a debatable whether it was the right question.
Correct.
And
Right.
and I think it is in this case. There's a lot of like, why didn't you cancel this?
Yeah, right.
Like, this is not working.
Right.
We've paid you so much money, and like, so a lot of these, if you don't get in, if you got to deal with a long line for a band, and you got to deal with a long line to get in and get checked in, and this is Saturday, and the venue doesn't open till 3, you're not going to be set up and ready to be camped until what, 7, 8, and then you only have a day and a night left.
Right.
There's a lot of places to be angry here.
It's tough. It's tough.
We'll see how it shakes out over the course of the next week or two, and whether there'll ever be another one of these. But you can't do anything about Mother Nature. But you can do something about potentially canceling and doing refunds, or maybe doing like they did here, which is our Moon River Festival, our former festival, where they did a beautiful situation where they made something for the people who wanted it and also gave partial refunds.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they
If
really
they
did
could do
everything.
something like that, I think they would make everybody happy. But I don't know.
But you're right, Brian. I don't think about that a lot. When the sun comes out and you're sitting at home thinking, why can't we go?
Look at it.
Outside, it's great.
Yeah.
Look how amazing
I didn't even
it is out
unpack the
there.
car. Yeah.
It happens every time in the at least in the Gulf of Mexico and on the eastern seaboard. In my experience, every time there's a storm, you get the nicest
Yeah, right.
weather
after
you've
it's
ever had.
gorgeous.
And
Yeah, and I think a lot of people every year think, oh, why do they have Bonnaroo in June? It's so hot. Yeah, it's hot, but it's also
very dry.
predictable. It's very dry. You might get some thunderstorms
you
or
get the
anything, but
summer
nothing
storms.
like the September,
Right.
hurricane
and really,
season.
June is not. June isn't the hottest part of Tennessee. It's really more
Correct.
like July. We just happen
you're
every
right.
now and again get a heat wave like this year.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Russ, you had a pretty good weekend, right? Got to had a surprise.
Yeah.
A surprise
I know.
event.
What is
that
this big
involved-
surprise you're talking
is-
about, Russ?
involved
This
some
is just
people I know.
so Chattanooga. I mean, if you're not from here, you might not get it, but it's such a big, small town, and we were gonna go. A group of friends were gonna go Thursday to Lo Mein, which is Barry. That's your nephew Graham that owns that, and we love Lo Mein.
Very
Well, they
hot,
posted a
cool
thing.
place to go within the late 20s, early somethings crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Food,
Yeah,
drink,
yeah.
good
Food's
good
great.
atmosphere.
If you're coming through
Atmosphere.
Chattanooga and you want to get a great smash burger and a cocktail in a cool vibey place, Lo Mein is the place.
Delta 9 seltzer,
Absolutely.
whatever you want, they got.
Yeah. Well, they posted a thing on Thursday. It said, "Oh, we're closing at 6 tonight." So we thought, well,
dope.
okay, what are we gonna do? Dope. I know we had plans to go, so we just collectively said, well, let's just go to Boneyard, which is down the street, right there, Station Street, right there by the Choo Choo.
Another very cool
hip
place in
spot,
Chattanooga.
another very cool place to go. So I walk into Boneyard, and the first person I see is Graham. I'm like, oh, no wonder you're closed. You're here. And then I run into my other buddy, Travis Knight, who is kind of a local artist, graphic design, that kind of thing. But I've known him for a long time. He says hi, and he's like, oh, are you here to see the band? And I'm like, the band? Of course I'm here to see the band.
I'm right here for you,
course.
buddy.
I've been waiting all along. Yeah.
I've been
We'll
supporting
come
you
to
for
find
20
out.
years, my guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Biggest
I can't
fan.
wait. Well, Travis and Graham are in a band together. Two people that I know that I didn't know knew each other are in a band together. Lillian is the name of the band. Very cool band. I was blown away because we were just. This was a last minute change. We walked in, didn't even know there was a show playing, and they played. They opened for another band, but to me it gave very heavy, like old school, The Cure, Depeche Mode, early '80s type stuff. I loved it, and so I walk over to the merch table and I buy a record, which is a very cool. It's like a vinyl, purple vinyl.
Yeah, purple vinyl.
Love the
Yeah.
colored vinyls.
Yeah, I got a tape.
And
'cause,
the cassette
I'm into
tape.
I got the cassette tape. And then because last week when we were talking about this bluegrass festival coming to Chattanooga, we mentioned you've seen the Forever Bluegrass bumper stickers. They're
Those things are
everywhere.
worldwide.
They've been around
Worldwide.
25, 30 years.
Yeah. Well, they just happen to be selling a Forever Goth. I had to get it. So,
I think
yeah.
that is Travis Knight's brainchild as a Forever Goth thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's funny.
But it was a great time. And just where else are you going to just walk into a place and be like, oh, here's two of my friends. They're in a band together. Ran into, speaking of, we were just talking about Moon River and the rain out, our buddy Sam Fort that runs all the lighting and sound at the Tivoli. He was there because apparently he's friends with Graham too. So it was just like all these little pieces of different worlds that you never think come together. Yeah. They came together.
Sam is the guy. If you've been listening to this show for a long time and you know the Moon River story, it rained out on Sunday and the mayor of our city, Tim Kelly, called and said, whatever we need to do to make this work, do you guys want the Memorial Auditorium to put something on? And they called Sam, and I think he was just coming back from vacation, right? He was like in Atlanta when he got the call Sunday afternoon.
No, he was
said,
in
hey, we need
Colorado.
you to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, turn the lights off and staff this place.
And staff this place, yeah. And you got an hour, and they did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and they did. We talked about that. It was cool. But
anyway.
Why didn't either of you tell me that there was a band? That these people are in a band.
Well, see, I don't know Travis Knight, and Travis Knight's actually a little bit more than a local guy. This guy does some really amazing artwork, and I from afar, I'm a fanboy. We're the same age basically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Travis, and then I just happen to know he's in a band, and I don't know your nephew either, so
Graham.
I couldn't help you out with that one, Taco.
I felt blindsided, and I guess maybe Travis should have told. I don't know.
He's soft spoken, man. He's not gonna jump out there and be like, "Hey, man, I'm in a band."
Yeah,
Like,
you're right. Yeah, he's very low key. Yeah.
Well, I give a plug also for Boneyard, which I haven't been. I've been there once, but. They have an arcade now, right? Denny.
That's right.
What's Hennon? What's the
Brian Hennon, who is one of the
right, and now it's inside Boneyard. So again, if you're in Chattanooga and you're looking for a place to hang out, and you like video games and live music and a bar. Check out the Boneyard.
It is shocking to me how cool that bar is.
Yeah. It's so cool. I know.
In a town like many towns that are losing the cool things we've had and the cool things we remember and getting replaced by cocktail, espresso, martini bars and everything else and craft beer, this and that. It's a really, really neat place. Yeah.
So there's your unsolicited plug for two bars and a band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're ever in town.
Lo Mein, Lillian, and Boneyard.
And the only other thing, festival news is Outside Lands is going on out in San Francisco that nobody really on this side of the country cares about, but we have people that are out there that do.
We got listeners out there, yeah.
And the only thing I saw from that looks like things are going pretty good. It's in Golden Gate Park. And the ride share dollar amounts I saw, though, or the surge pricing is out of control. That's the biggest thing there. They have now also a service called, on top of Uber and Lyft, called Waymo, and it's robots driving you around.
Oh, great.
So I knew that was a thing in certain areas, but this is now a full service. It's not just like hey, here's a prototype. A full service, you call a Waymo and get picked up by a robot, which I don't trust people, so I'd get in a car with a robot. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure this is going to go great. Yeah.
But that was a big concern. The only thing I saw people arguing about, and then Sabrina Carpenter, which I'm not overly familiar with, she was headlining that Saturday. She had Casey Musgraves come up, and they did these boots are made for walking, which made a bunch of clips all over social. Nice. So it looks like a big time out in San Francisco this past weekend as well.
Gotta love a little Nancy Sinatra. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna hear from Abbey here in a little bit. A little bit of business. We're trying to figure out our schedule here coming ongoing. We know we have South Star coming up. but we're going to take some time off. We don't know when yet. I know, Bryan, you're going to see some band I've never heard of up in Madison Square Garden.
These guys from speaking of
some old band that's getting
Pacific
back
Some
together.
old
Northwest.
band. Nobody listens to him anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know you're very
Going with
excited.
our buddy Brad, having me in, and love to take a jab at Brad every time we get, because he's fun to make fun of, because that's all he does to everybody else.
Yeah.
But boy, he does it right. So we're gonna be we're going to a Mets game, Pearl Jam at Madison Square Garden for one night. I couldn't push my luck for two. There was no way he was gonna do that. I tried to push maybe going to Yankee Stadium. He's a big Mets guy. He's like, no. He's like, I'll get you tickets and you can get the train and go yourself. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So it'll be a big week. That's in about 3 weeks from, or hell, 2.5 weeks from right now. So we'll see how it all unfolds. But it is kind of dead time. But there's also, man, it changes and shifts so fast. Can't wait to get to Huntsville to see what that South Star is going to be like. So
Right.
we'll see how it all unfolds.
Lots to talk about. I'm looking forward to hearing about your trip. All right. Anything else before we bring Abbey on?
I think that just about. I think that just about covers it, really. Speaking of, she talks a little bit about Reddit, and we talk, and she, about what you can and can't take for full seriousness, and that was what I was trying to do when I was reading about this Elements thing. But that's all I heard from every single person was, "F you, Elements Festival." So, but
They can't do anything about the rain, man.
No, they can't.
I get it, but it's only so much.
But yeah,
they can do.
Abbey was fun to talk to.
All right, here we go. Here's our interview with Abbey. Hey, so there's Abbey. How are you?
Oh, I'm so
We
good.
were
now that
beginning
I'm
to
talking
wonder
you guys.
whether you were real.
I'm a mystery woman, but I'm here. I'm real.
Awesome. So let's bring everybody up to speed. Abbey, you guys that are longtime listeners, way back before Bonnaroo, we just sort of said, hey, we had so much fun with people sending us voice messages, giving us tips on what you should do, what not to do at Bonnaroo, and then we also asked people to share some memories, favorite memorabilia, favorite memories, whatever, and decided that I would send we would pick a winner, and I would send a prize pack, and we chose Abbey, and the reason that we did was a couple of things, mostly because you had your wristband stolen.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to hear.
Yeah, before I even got them.
Yeah.
Before you even got them, and but you went, and I'm dying to hear how
Yes.
Bonnaroo, what that experience. First of all, I'm sorry. That had to be one of the worst feelings ever. So I want to hear that, but I want to hear you went anyway, and I want to hear how Bonnaroo made it right. And then I know from talking to you, in fact, when I called you, you started telling me about what a great time you had, and I had to stop you because I didn't want you to run out of steam. It's never the same when you tell a story twice, type of thing. So I'm anxious to hear what it was like having those things stolen, and then what it was like getting in there, and then how your Bonnaroo went. So let's start with when did you find out, and how did you find out it was stolen, right?
So, my boyfriend's sister is who I was going with. She's the one who ordered everything to her house, and so I had my ticket shipped to her house. She sends me a picture. She's like, hey, the Bonnaroo stuff came, but yours was sliced open. There's nothing in the package. And I lived 2 hours away from her, and I was like, ouch. Okay.
Wait,
I
how
don't
did
know
you
what
know
to
it was
do.
yours and not hers?
Well, they
she's the
were
one who
all
got it.
addressed.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yours is gone. Too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all ordered individually and just had them shipped to the same house.
I got you.
So of course the package with my name, no dice, which look at the Irish, that's going to happen, to me. And I got immediately on the phone with, front gate and was trying to deal with the whole situation. They just we're like, you're gonna have to pick them up at will call.
Let me
Bring your
interrupt
ID.
real quick, Abby. How far out from the festival starting that you found this particular bad news out? Few weeks, month? How close was it?
So our tickets were shipped like from the first shipment of tickets out. So I'd say that's about a month
Okay.
out.
Okay. So you had a month to figure
Oh,
this out. So sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you're fine. So I immediately got on the phone and I felt better that they weren't trying to charge me for anything. It was just uneasy because I'm driving 8 hours to go pick them up at will call, and I'm like, oh man, what if I get there and something
Oh my
else is
God. I'd be
wrong?
a
I know.
nervous wreck every
I
day of my
Yeah.
life for a
I was
month.
getting ready to say I can already see the hives breaking out on Brian's.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
our
Especially
nightmare.
when everyone else already has their wristband. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I don't
Oh,
believe
they're so
Barry when he tells me something's going on good
Yeah.
here, let alone the front gate girl or guy on the phone.
This
But
is
well.
the
There's
nightmare.
Right.
yes. There was a language barrier too. So I'm like, so they're, but I got them, like, right? Like, they're going to be there. She's like, yes. And she kept saying on the website, it'll show will call times. Well, they were last year's times. So every day I'm on there checking for the update. Finally, it came. The people of Reddit were so sweet when I was like, help, and offered to send me their goodies because, of course, I didn't get my goodies that I should have in the mail. They did take care of that at will call. So I appreciate them for following their word on that one. But yeah, I was an anxious mess. And that's when I called you guys because I'm like, okay, I need to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And we did that. I got to will call, got my wristband just fine. We got in on Tuesday about 4 p.m.
Yeah. Tuesday crew.
I had I think I'm a forever Tuesday crew, to be honest.
Me
Like,
too.
to watch the evolution of the farm come to life it's extraordinary. Like, it just unfolds, and it's like, that was nothing yesterday but trash cans in a field, and now it's a sea of tents and
Mm-hmm.
people, and oh, it's amazing. So we set up camp. I go with them to meet people that they met at Rue last year, who they were meeting up with, and go to Where in the Woods that night, and I'm standing there and I'm just taking it all in. Now, I am an EDM girly. I'm an all music type girly, but EDM is where my heart kind of throbs and you just get into it. And I had started Tuesday out saying, this is my one and done. Like, I've always wanted to come here, but like, I'm 27 and I want to settle down in life, and I don't see this
Don't
being
do
a thing.
that.
Yeah. No, but pretty much I think when Pretty Lights ended on Thursday, I was like, I'm ready to come back already, and we haven't even left yet. The weekend's just getting started. So
And
I
I think you
go
may have
ahead.
said it, but this is your first Bonnaroo, right?
This
Okay.
was my first festival, first time camping, and first time
See,
Okay,
Bonnaroo.
well
now
that's
the
Oh,
that's next
wow.
anxiety
level.
level starts to
Oh, yeah.
explode.
Yeah.
Let me do back up just a minute so people who don't know, because I don't know this necessarily. I have a guess where it is. Where is will call for Bonnaroo? Most people don't have to deal with this. What
Yeah.
was where was that? Was it off site? Was it out of school by
hmm
chance?
It's a
Yes,
school.
High
It's the
the
school.
same
Yeah.
Coffee
place where
County High
it's
School.
the same place where we got them
Which
the
is a
last
few
2 years
miles
ago.
away. And yeah, we
Right.
didn't even know how to get there a couple of years ago because it's
Right.
off the beaten path. No
And we're
issues there, no issues when you got to there, and they got you right through. So that's
Nope.
great. That's great.
And on Tuesday, I had no wait, walked right up and had my pick of who I wanted to help me even.
did they have your I mean, did they have everything? You didn't have to get somebody on the phone. Everything was the way it
Yep.
was. Good, cool, very cool.
Yeah, pretty much they sent me a second barcode and like a second order number. They just had like a giant tub sitting behind them
Right.
full of wristbands.
Yeah.
So Reddit told me that this happened to quite a few people, unfortunately. I think somebody that works potentially with the post office may have an idea of what was going out and was attempting to kind of try to get lucky. I don't know. It's sad, but it
Well,
got worked out.
at
But you
least as
got
soon as you report it, they void that ticket immediately. So whoever did
Yep.
pilfer that, they can't get in with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way, in that case, it was really good for it to be that far out a month because they immediately
Right.
zap
Right.
those, and so all that part would make me feel okay. That's easy. Like this is 20 years ago. That's not how
Yeah.
that works.
Right.
But that would not change my anxiety issues from going to a
No.
brand new place to an atmosphere I'm not used to being in, and then just
Yep.
hoping they tell me it's going to work out, and then all that, and you still made it in on Tuesday, which is pretty
Yep.
remarkable to me.
That is. Especially 8
Yep.
hours away. I mean, if we show up and something's not right, we just go home.
Yeah, take
I'm leaving.
That's
take
a
a nap.
Yeah, I'm
That's
leaving.
a long
Yeah.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I had dreamed of going to Bonnaroo for quite a few years. I think I started in high school seeing more videos as Instagram and other things kind of picked up. I was like, oh, this place looks awesome. Like this is really cool. And I
Yeah.
looked more and more into it. And honestly, I just didn't have any friends or people to go with. Now, like I'm looking at going solo next year and meeting up with other people because
It's a good
the drama that can come with groups is kind
good
of
way
not
to
my
do it.
favorite.
It's a good way to do
Yeah.
it.
All right,
Great way.
so
Yeah.
I interrupted you. You were so by Thursday you're all in. You it was
Oh,
everything you imagined and more, huh?
yeah. I feel like parts of my soul were given back to me that I didn't know were missing at Bonnaroo. I uh
That's good.
I I've been telling people I am like, people that say Disney World is the happiest place on earth haven't been to Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Like they haven't because there's no comparison. I started the week Tuesday and Wednesday night, slept in the tent on the air mattress with my future sister-in-law. And by Thursday night, through the rest of the weekend, I am on the ground under my canopy, just laid out flat on the rug. I'm like connecting with nature, which is not a me thing. I don't hike. I don't really camp. I don't go outside unless I absolutely have to. But I just felt at peace. And I mean, I'm crawling out of the woods at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and then going to camp, getting a few hours of sleep and then waking up, showering and doing it all over again. It was just, there's a dichotomy that comes with Bonnaroo that you don't get anywhere else. That sense of community. And like, I was a communication studies major in college. So to get to what you guys kind of talk about on the show where everybody's story is unique, but it's all still kind of the same. Like the interconnections that we all have and the kindness that you see and witness and feel just being on the farm it's unmatchable. And then you immediately leave the farm and somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're like, well, there's next year. I get to look forward to next year.
Yeah,
So,
no, you've heard us talk about it. You've heard me talk about it. All of us, and anybody you've been around in your in your orbit of friends and people you spent time with on the farm. I mean, these are common threads, and yeah, the stories are always so similar, but they're
yeah,
not. Like they're so uniquely similar. I mean, it's almost that
It's your
doesn't
story,
work.
but we all know it.
But we all get it. It's not like, hold on, I need you to explain that a little
Yeah.
further. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cool. It's so cool to hear other people, whether it's at the bar or at wherever you're out with friends, and like you just spark that conversation, or while you're there, or wherever. It's always it's just fun in itself, magical in
every,
itself.
yes. So I will say, cause I feel like before I forget about kind of the entirety of why I called into the show, right, I was worried about theft, right? I already dealt with it before I even go. How do I stay safe? How do my items
That's
stay
right. I
safe?
remember you asking that question. That's
Yep.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully nothing of mine went missing. I had no issues, but I did my due diligence to make sure that didn't happen. And I think the people around me, they did try, but a few bad apples, of course, are at the festival. I think the first night, it was Thursday night, a girl in our group, Madison, we're having a great time at the other stage. Everybody's happy and dancing. Her bag was unzipped, and it was a clear, like, concert venue bag. and there goes her phone.
Oh
Just
no.
right off of her person. She immediately went, reported it, came back. She didn't let it ruin her weekend. She was a trooper about it. My future sister-in-law ended up giving her phone so that she could stay connected with us if we separated. She didn't let it get her down. And I think that was the other part of like, if that happens in the real world,
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
distraught
Yeah.
for days.
Right.
So, and then, our campmate, the people that were camped right behind us, her wallet got stolen.
Mm.
Don't know exactly when. She thinks it was in her backpack, like on her back, but um, who knows when it actually got taken. Either way, it did get taken, and that sucks,
Yeah.
especially form of payment. But again, they finished the weekend out and enjoyed it.
That seems to be a new thing. We never saw that for the first 15 years that I'm aware of. I'm sure there were some. I know our friend Brad watched a phone get taken at the hotel check-in, or not watch, but kind of it was there and then it was not there. I think you were there, Brian. Remember when?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but those were pretty rare. But it seems to be happening more.
It's a big
Unfortunately.
farm, a lot of people, and you never know for sure. You don't hear from everybody. I have also been,
Right.
and I'm not just talking about Bonnaroo, but I have also been in many scenarios that were party based with maybe music playing, festivals, whatever. And there's regularly people who stole my stuff. It's like, dude, you're messed up. You just lost it. Or
Yeah.
where's my stash?
Right.
You did it all, man.
You did.
There's some of that too that occasionally I'm not accusing anybody in your crew of people that might have been the case, but I certainly know that there's truth to that too. Who
Yeah.
stole my lighter?
Yeah, you left it
Yep.
on the. Yeah.
You threw it in the bonfire to watch it explode, dude. You don't remember that? So anyway, I'm trying to be flippant and silly about it, but
I want to go back
It
a
happens.
little bit, Abby. I want to go back and sorry for jumping around, but Brian and I have talked about this all the time. Russ, it doesn't matter because Russ is the most relaxed human being that I've ever known. But Brian and I, it's not until we pull our car into the parking spot at the campsite that we exhale. Did you have
Yep.
that moment?
Um, I don't know if I did or not. To be honest, I know my car mates did. I could feel it. We pulled in and we go through security and we're kind of following the line to where they're going to tell us to park. And I saw them
Yeah,
physically just
that's
relieve
it.
and they said,
Mm-hmm.
I feel so much
it's the
better, like
weight.
just
It's the
being
weight
here.
off the shoulders,
That's it.
off the mind.
Turn the.
And I think mine might have happened when they handed
Yeah,
my
Yeah,
that's
you
wristband
might
to
that's
have
what
me.
I
you might
wanted
have
to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah,
exhausted
yeah,
all your
yeah.
relief on that because I bet that was eating you for 8 hours. So that might have something to do with it. But it
Yeah.
is. I mean, you really gotta be focused. You gotta be ready. You gotta know what you're
Hmm.
doing, and you're new to the area, new to the farm, and all that stuff is real. And if you do something wrong, it'll still be fine. But I'm always, and Barry probably less than me. I'm a little more anxious, but I'm always worried. We're about to screw something up. Something's about to go
Something's gonna
wrong.
happen.
They're not going to let us through.
Yep. They don't know
Yep.
they don't have my name. It's
And-
misspelled. There's something.
And I'm not meaning to sound like, but we're somebody. Most
No.
people here know us. They're gonna fix it for us, and I still can't calm down.
No. That's why I asked. That's funny to hear you say you could see it because I know that look because I've done it. It's turn the car off, get out. Now I'm
Yeah,
here.
Yep.
Everything else is gone. The rest of the world is behind me. It's
When I was a drinker, it was when everything was
pop
finally
that first beer.
Oh yeah.
everything's right in the world, guys. And now I just open a sparkling water or something. Same deal, same end result. But that was when he knew I'd put my feet back. Like it's time.
So
We're
tell
here.
us, Abby. I mean, you said you've been thinking about going for a long time. Tell me what your expectation. Take the stolen wristband out of it. What
Okay.
was your expectation, and then did it meet it, and where, where and
Okay.
how?
So one of the things I wrote down when we discussed that I was going to be on the show with you guys was if I was to write a tips and tricks list for Bonnaroo, the first thing I would put is throw out all expectations, because I went into it a blank canvas. I had no expectations, right? I knew it was going to be a good time. I had listened to so many episodes from you guys and delved into Reddit really hard. So seeing people so excited about something, I knew it was going to be great. There's something for everyone there. And I let it take me, right? Like I didn't expect anything of it. I knew it was going to be hot. I started running and being outside about mid-March and let my body like acclimate.
You did more than
I,
us. We didn't do any running.
Yeah, I should do
well,
that.
I,
I'm gonna
Yeah,
write
I always
that
say
down.
that.
yeah, I kind of took advice from everybody and I cared enough to prepare, but I didn't have any expectations. I found out I love side quests. I am a side quest person. I can say I'm going to this show, but I did follow your guys' advice. I didn't make a schedule to follow. I knew who I wanted to see, but
Mhm.
I was also willing to just let Rue take me, and I did. I let it give to me what it felt it should, and I got so much more out of it than I ever would have expected to. So I think people that haven't been should take it as the experience. Like it may not be for everyone, but people that are like, it's too hot, it's too loud, people are rude, and this, it's like, well, why'd you accept all that? Like just let it go, just enjoy your time. It's an experience, right? Like I personally wouldn't go skydiving because I have no desire to. I don't want to jump out of a plane unless it's on fire. Like I'm not looking for experiences like that. I'm willing though, when I do seek out something, to experience it. Like I'm not going to go to a Chinese restaurant and be mad they have like Chinese. Like I wanted tacos. I'm not going to get that there, right? So
Yeah.
I think people's mindsets we've kind of moved as a society into, unfortunately, a little entitled. And I think you have to let a lot of that go when you go to a place like Bonnaroo and just let it be what it is. And you either like it or you don't. But I just don't understand what's not to like.
Well, to that point about people, especially in all walks of life through socials, using anecdotal stories to try to paint an entire picture of something is a big problem that we all have to deal with. How much of
Yeah.
that did you think about when you were looking at Reddit and looking at wherever else you were? Reddit's probably your best place to look for information about your issue of my tickets got stolen. I'm coming 8 hours. I don't know what to I don't know what to think here. I'm concerned. How much were you get? Did you take that into account at that point, that you're going to be hearing from people who don't have any idea what they're talking about, act like they
Hmm.
do, straight up lie, make stuff up? Did you have to weed through a lot of that? And I'm guessing you're pretty well versed in social media threads and that world, that
Yeah.
you were able to figure out how that works for you. But how did that go for you?
So I'm a teacher, and so I know that when a kid tells me a story, there's three versions. There's the actual what happened, and then their version, and then the version that they're willing to settle with if I don't take their first version.
Yeah,
So I kind of layered
they're
that
liars.
into what I was reading. Yeah, like little they
Sorry,
learn
I
to
was
lie
just
real
laying it
quick
out.
too. No, it's true. So I I want to hear every perspective before I form an opinion on something.
So you know how to decipher all that. So that's easy enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could see if you were somebody that wasn't super familiar with Reddit and the satire sometimes, or the different aspects of it,
And the
that
code, the
it,
code language a little bit. Yeah, yeah, totally.
yeah, that you would get scared. You would look at some of the things people say, and I will say the best thing that I did read last, you know, moments before pulling onto the farm was, don't be on this sub during the festival, because the negativity is all you're seeing on there, because if you're on your phone on Reddit, other than to be like, found ID or this is going on over
Then
here.
you're not at Bonnaroo. Not for real.
Exactly.
Not for
So,
real.
Right.
so I don't care what those people have to say
Yeah.
because they're not taking, why did you pay to come here to be on your phone and complain? I don't know.
That's interesting that what you just said, but also that you want to go by yourself next year. Um,
Well, it's not that I want to go by myself, but I think everybody, like in my little group I had, which I'm sure they're going to listen to this. So also, no hard
Abby's
feelings to
pissed, y'all.
anything.
It's
No,
coming
no.
out.
I'm
I
playing.
think that, I
I'm
think we
playing.
all benefit from like doing things your own way. And I was really excited to take this experience with my future sister-in-law. Her name is Ray. She's a wonderful, wonderful chick, super cool cat. And then I was like, you're going to get to take me to all these places and teach me the ways because I'm a blank canvas. Like I have no expectations. But then after I got there, I started to find where my interests were focused at and what I didn't care about as much. And she also, poor girl, like she was a trooper. She had major pain like going on and was dealing with the heat on top of all of that. So her experience this year was a lot different than I think her prior 3 that she has been to. And girls, we love girls. However, girls we're prone to get bickery with each other. We're prone to get mad at each other. You can't confine a bunch of women together for too long. That's how murders happen. So I think that,
your
I
I
words.
think,
You want to join the show more often?
I would love to. I think that we kind of decided that she kind of said, I might go solo next year. And I said, well, if you do, I might do the same. Like, I want to be here. I want to meet up with you for the things we both like cohabitate on. And then the things that we don't, it's no hard feelings. There's no pressure. And I think eliminating that pressure of like, we have to band together, like we don't. And, I could see everyone enjoying their time a lot more without that added stress of pleasing others. Cause go for you, right? Like, what's your Bonnaroo? Like, focus on that.
We've talked about this before, right, guys? Russ and Bryan. In our group, we never all end up at the same place, even when we had a larger group. Like, I might go see a show with Russ or with Bryan, or I might end up there, but it's rare,
And it's
right?
usually not
Oh,
for
yeah.
long, 15, 20, 30 minutes of it or so. We've all kind of, and we didn't just all of a sudden say, all right, break, and then we all would take off.
Right, right. And
But
it's not
it just
a,
turned out that way.
yeah, it's not that I don't want to go with you guys or don't enjoy it. We've had a lot of guests on the show and we've heard a lot of people talk about how much fun it is to see a show with a group. How meaningful that was to all be in the field at 2 in the morning but it's
Hmm.
usually not like hey, 9 o'clock in the morning, we're talking about where we're going to be at 2 a.m. and who's going to be with us type of thing, right? It just happens and it
Right.
has to be that way. Otherwise, you're miserable. So, yeah, I get it. I get
Hmm.
what you're saying. It's if your fun is tied to somebody else, it usually ends up bad. That seems to be the
Yeah.
Yeah.
experience, right?
And I mean, I wouldn't say I had a negative moment at all. It was a learning experience at the same time. And the confidence that I don't think I would have had to go by myself prior, like she showed me that she was kind of doing her own thing. And I was like, that's really cool. And through her, I met, her best friend who was camping with the people they met last year, Delaney and Katrina, the 2 girls from, one of them lives in Chicago and one of them lives in Atlanta. So I have ties to be able to go to Lala or Shaky Knees next summer. But
It's great.
I think
Yeah.
that she showed me that, it's okay to like do your own thing. And by Sunday, I was confident I was going to be going to see Galantis like by myself because I guess I missed it reading the lineup 5 million times, but I was like, what? And I had to be there, and I knew that my Rue journey was complete at that moment. I also think driving separately benefits because had she needed to go, she wouldn't have felt obligated to stay because of us, with, financial obligation everybody puts into Bonnaroo. And then also if I wanted to go, because I thought I am just killing it. I'm here Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon to Sunday night. I'm leaving it Monday morning. Sunday night was scary. Like, if I could describe the only time I felt unsafe at Bonnaroo was going into and being in Where in the Woods Sunday night. Because there's a couple reasons. And first was it got to capacity as we were walking in. Yeah. They're out there with megaphones telling people it's at capacity. Well, mobs of
they don't care.
Partying people don't care.
And the festival's effectively over at that point.
Right.
Everybody's this is now kind of like you're on
there's
your
nowhere
own.
else to go.
I can see how that could be potentially some issues there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they I guess they eventually, after we walked in, barricaded it off, and I don't know, but during that moment when you've got all I forget the name of the little taxi bikes, but they're going through, pedicabs, and we got separated from two of the girls in our group and couldn't get a hold of them. No one had signal, nothing was sending. So we're standing in the back. We're all trying to find these two girls. They thankfully were with some friends from another group we had met. But when they couldn't find us when they left those guys, they got separated, so didn't see them the rest of the night. And I'm kind of starting to panic because my girl code kicks in of like, I'm worried, right? Like, this place is packed. People are going nuts because if somebody was to be partaking in something, they want to get rid of it before they drive home. Mm-hmm. And you see a lot of medics dragging people out of the crowd. It got scary. That was the only time I didn't feel 100% safe. And it wasn't that I was worried about myself. I was worried about other people. So I don't know if I'm a late Sunday night person. I probably need to be like, okay, I've had my fun and maybe hit the road, because witnessing some of that was like, I don't want to have a bad taste,
Well, I wonder how much of that, and it's probably something that, and we'll probably talk to the folks that organize it. Where in the Woods was the only option, right? I mean,
yes.
At that point, so that's where everybody was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a great option to begin with, but the fact that it was the only option, I could see where.
Well, this is a big shift in the last half decade or so. I mean, it used to be going back about 10 years. I mean, once that final note on that what stage on Sunday, this place is over. This place is done. You can go back to your campsite, sit there until tomorrow afternoon. That's fine. There's nothing else to do here. I don't think that I disagree with that being the way it probably should do. I don't know if Where in the Woods cranking back up hardcore into the night into Monday is necessarily the best idea. Right. Now, I'll leave it at that, but that's interesting to hear. But I will say, Abby, that's some stamina, all right? So you have proven that you can hard on Sunday night, too.
Tuesday to Sunday night. Yeah,
I mean,
good point.
Wherever the awards are coming from, you're a Rookie of the Year candidate for sure.
That's where it was funny, because as the week went on, and especially getting into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the people that we were with, they're veterans and they've been going multiple years. When they'd hear it was my first time, the look on their face was just like, what? And I was like, I did my homework. Like, I love this kind of music. I love live music in general. I work at a live music venue on the weekends. I'm big into Beatles. I'm named after a Beatles album. My cat's name is Ringo. Like, I love music. So if you love music,
yeah, love it.
You go for it and you enjoy it, but you got to do a little bit of homework, and if you do, you'll be okay. I didn't worry about my fit, Brian.
Good.
The fit check was not an issue.
You didn't do a fit check on Instagram?
No.
I'm gonna
I'm a
look. Don't
teacher,
you
so
lie
we,
to me.
Yeah.
I don't. No, I cringe a little bit. I am all for the girls that love that, but I can't look at
It's
myself on camera and
fine.
take myself
I just
seriously.
like to have fun with it. I mean, I think it's stupid, but I like to have fun with it.
I was comfortable though. Everything I wore, I never complained about my feet or anything. So that was a great tip because at first I had ordered a bunch of stuff on some Chinese website and it never came, of course. That's the way it goes. So I hit up every Goodwill in the tri-state area and found the most bizarre things, and that's what I wore, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So what were your you've already said your big tip, which is to basically enjoy and let it happen. But practically speaking, what are some of the other tips? I mean, how do you get
Um,
from Tuesday to Sunday? So you'd be the one to ask. What are the good tips?
well, first off, it's definitely do acclimate yourself. Start drinking. My boyfriend calls my Stanley Cup my big dumb cup from some SNL skit or something. But I was chugging like four of those a day, and I was hydrated going into the drive to the festival, and kept it up the whole time. I made sure I was drinking an electrolyte packet in the morning and one at night, just trying to do the hydration thing as best I could, and I think I did a good job. I never felt heat exhaustion or like I was dehydrated. Second is be outside. I'm not I'm not made for the sun. So I needed to get myself acclimated to melting, because that's what you do during the day at Bonnaroo is you melt. Um,
Especially by Saturday this year, yeah.
oh Lord,
Maybe
yeah.
Friday. Friday too, I guess.
It was like our group chat with the girls on a side note is called wood rats because we're like rats. We hide away from the sun all day in shade and then we scurry into the woods at night. It was amazing to see myself able to get through that heat. I did walk, run, like, I mean, as many steps as you take in a day at Bonnaroo, you got to get your body physically able to do that. And I know that that's harder for some people to get that in their routine and stuff like that. And then also eating. I know people want to look good in their outfits, or they're busy, they're having fun, they forget, but like make time to eat. Like your body does need to eat. We are not robots. So I think those are just basic like health tips. And then uh, trust your people, let your people around you know where you're at physically, mentally, probably even emotionally. It's a very emotional festival, in my opinion. Keep people around you that are good for you, and don't be afraid to express when something's wrong, because if they love you, they're gonna help you get through it.
Sounds like you had a good plan going in. Um, is there big changes next year for you? Any big things you're going to do differently?
Um, I don't know that I'm gonna do too much other than potentially the way I camp. I will more than likely not expect the same thing twice, right? Keep an open mindset on the experience can always change or be different, but I don't know that I'm going to change much at this time. I think as I reflect and we get closer to ticket sales in November and lineups in January, I may alter some things and really take a good look back, but I'm truly just still riding the high of dopamine from being
That's
there.
great. I mean, we're a little bit removed from it, so that's really cool. Just real fast, you mentioned being an EDM girl, as you put it, I believe. But you
Mhm.
like all music. What else over the weekend that was not EDM did you
Yeah.
enjoy over the weekend?
I really enjoyed seeing like idols. I enjoyed seeing,
Everybody loved Idols, except I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoyed, Red Hot Chili Peppers was good, but that's just because I grew up with my dad listening to it. To be honest, felt it was kind of boring, but it was a nice like mellow set to sit down in the grass and just
It's what
like
everybody
enjoy.
says, no matter who you are. It's a fine
Yeah.
answer. It's a perfect answer.
Yeah. And then, Carly Rae Jepsen for like the 2 minutes I saw her and the rain delay happened.
Yeah.
And then I got to see two of my hometown heroes, as I like to call them. So from the area I grew up in, we've got Jake Wesley Rogers. He played on the What stage at like 2 on Sunday,
Boy, that was a hot day. That was
and
a hot one.
Yeah.
it was toasty. But I got down on the rail for that one, and it was in the shade the whole
All
time,
right.
so
All right.
that was great. And then Chapel Roan, she's from my area as well. So growing up, she's a year younger than me, and so kind of watching that whole thing it's been really cool to see both of them transform into their careers, and they're so deserving of every bit that they're getting from fans. In our area, although there's a lot of talent that comes from it, I think them as artists and who they are as people, I could see where I feel for them growing up in the area
I
that
do
we grew
too,
up
and
in.
I just know where they are on the map. I like
Yeah.
on the atlas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I need to do to feel bad for them.
that's pretty
Sorry.
cool.
Yep. We're in misery, but
Well, I
for
mean,
sure.
hey, we're ain't the best state ever either here in Tennessee. We'll just leave it at that. But
I've always had a good
no,
time in
Tennesse's
Tennessee.
a beautiful landscape. It's one of the best places ever. And when you get further outside of that, then we have things to discuss on a different podcast. But
Right. All right.
so that's cool. Real cool.
Well, what else, Abby? Thank you for doing this. Thanks. I'm so glad you had a good time. I knew this would be fun, and I knew it would be interesting. And what as we said, every story is unique, but they're so similar. I,
Oh man, yep.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having that. I can't imagine getting that phone call that your tickets were stolen. It makes me tense just thinking about it.
Yeah, I feel it. I remember exactly like the blood just rushing from my face, and I took a deep breath and I handled it, and we got through it. And I'll never forget it. It's a
Yeah,
memory.
Oh, yeah.
never
So,
That's
not
true.
great. Never. It's you,
Yeah.
now you got a
but
story. That's what it is.
I do.
Yeah. What'd you
I just want to say, go ahead, Russ.
what'd you think of the junk from Barry's basement? We
Oh,
saw a
that's
little
right.
unboxing. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
did it make it? Oh, yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is.
I've learned his name is Rufus.
Rufus. Yep.
And then there's Barry's note, which it did take me a minute to
She,
read, but we got it
my
done.
handwriting.
Yeah. What did it say?
Um, it says, Abby, so glad your Rue was amazing. Thanks for listening, Barry. But I couldn't read listening for a minute. But we
Thanks
got
Good
it.
for
thing I
something.
didn't
But
write it. You wouldn't have read a
Yeah.
word of it.
She couldn't. Either.
But yeah, this was one of the coolest things. I had saw this on Reddit feeds of past goodies and such, and I thought that's so
I
neat.
want to
Like
say that's
it's
2014, if I remember right.
yes, it is. And so you open this up, and I have
Where is mine?
a new koozie for my collection
Yep.
Hmm.
from you guys. I have Barry's face, which will end up on my cooler. And then we have our Rufus character, which I don't know what he's going to hold, but I got to put some. We're twinning. I love it.
Nice.
I knew I had mine somewhere.
Yeah.
Here it is right here.
Awesome.
And then the 2015 bandana.
Yep.
So this is going to become my new trades box for all of my candy, the bracelets and weird little hands like that people sent. Some guy threw this at me at some point, and it was just like, okay, like I love it. Like
Those were everywhere. I saw a lot of people with the little finger hands.
I have like a little plastic baby that somebody gave me. So yeah, this will be the collection box for years to come because
That's awesome.
I just can't be a one and done girl. I've got to go
It's
back.
a stat.
So
It's a stash box. Whatever you want to
There
stash in it is fine.
yes. So, but I do want to say before, we end this, I thank you guys for what you do because as somebody who seeks out advice and wants to do the homework, so informational, also with comedic relief in there. And I learned so much from you guys that I knew a lot of things that even my friends who had been before didn't know about, like, because I knew I was getting your guys' takes on things and discovering things that I probably wouldn't have found on my own. And I'm glad that I like Sobaru, or the different artists, Gore, different stuff that I didn't anticipate to be a part of that I got to because I found out from you guys. So I love your guys' show, and thank you for doing what you do and having me. And anybody who doesn't agree with the What Podcast is a silly goose.
Well, hey, Abby, actually, that's the coolest thing ever. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that means the
thank
world.
you so much.
That means the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, that was fun, right? I mean, Bryan, you and I laugh, and like I said during the interview, Russ is the most laid-back human being I know. Probably wouldn't even have stressed him at all, but you and I, Bryan, I'd have been on the floor.
Oh my God! Our friend Tara, the Villans, who are usually with us, she's been on the show before and will again at some point. They had issues and ended up having to be in GA this year. They had guests, and so they could come hang with us and use some of our. They stocked with us a little bit, and they kind of had a satellite issue there, and it worked out okay for them. But she was dealing with that for about 2-3 weeks before, where she knew she was going, but she didn't know in what capacity yet. And she like texted me that. I said, if I were you, I would be on the verge of a heart attack. Yeah. And this was just us down the road, and she knew she was in, just didn't know where. And I was dead serious. I was like, how are you going to work every day? How are you focusing?
How are you
on
functioning?
I loved ask Abby about, did you have that moment that we all have when you turn the car off, you step out, you pop open a beer or a Coke or whatever, and she's like, no, she didn't, but she said, I could tell my friends because they got out and did the
Yeah.
I know that look. I know.
And then of course, it makes sense because getting that ticket thing taken care of before was probably
Tell it's in your hand.
Thankfully.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Had to go to Will Call, which is, several miles down the road. Don't even know exactly where it's at. So, yeah.
Doesn't even go into GPS that well. I've had problems
No,
with
it doesn't.
No, it doesn't send you the other way. All right. Well, another good show. That was fun. Thanks, Abby, again.
Enjoyed it.
Glad to hear from her. Glad to hear it worked out. And I look forward to meeting her in person next year. So, all right.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, everybody, for listening. Hit that subscribe, like, give us a rating, give us a review, do whatever, please. It helps.
Yeah. Join the Discord. We don't talk about the Discord much, but we've got it.
We don't, because none of us know what it is.
I go there every now and then. Not
I do. I know exactly what Discord is, but I should get on it. I don't know what my problem is.
Thanks, everybody. See you guys.